All right, and welcome to Module 8. Basically, I'm going to go through all the 3D figures. We're going to be finding surface area, volume, and lateral area as well. So the first shape we're going to look at is a sphere. A sphere is a set of all points in space equidistant from a given point. And this point is called the center of the sphere. So in this case, the center of the sphere is right here. Okay, and here we have our R, which is our radius. Please remember that if we extend this line all the way across, then we have D, which is our diameter. So notice that the radius equals 1/2 the diameter, and that's going to come in handy. All right, so basically for this unit, you just have to know the formulas. And unfortunately on the test, they're not going to give you the formulas, but we're going to work through these formulas our best to make sure that we try to remember them for the test. So to find surface area, this is our formula. Basically all you need is R. And then for volume, it's 4/3, and you need to know how to cube a number. So I'll show you how to do both those things. So in example number 1, the hardest thing for this, again, is to notice that they're giving us a diameter, so we have to know that the radius is going to be 6. And this is our diameter. So our diameter cut in half is our radius. So if I'm going to find the surface area of this sphere, I just know that surface area equals 4 times 3.14, which is the number I'm using for pi. And that's going to be times 6 squared. And you should get 452.16. Now I'm going to find the volume. Volume is 4/3. Now I'm going to put that in parentheses because I'm not going to use the fraction button, times 3.14 times 6 cubed. Now to cube a number, basically 6 cubed equals 6 times 6 times 6. Or you can use this little button that looks like this. You'll see it in your calculator. It is like it's under the clear button on the far right. You type that in the 3 and it'll give you the answer. All right, and what you should get if you practice is 904.32. So again, just plugging numbers into the formula. Down here again, for example, 2. Again, this is my diameter, so my radius is half of that, which is 4. Now that I know what R is, I can easily find my surface area. Surface area equals 4 times 3.14 times 4 squared. You type all that in and you get 200.96. My volume is always going to be 4/3. And again, I'm going to put that in parentheses because it's a fraction. Times 3.14 times 4 cubed. And what you end up with 267.95. Okay? What you need to do is finish page 2. And you'll look for the answers on Canvas. All right. We're now on page 3. So here we go. This is page 3. And we're going to talk about cylinders now. So cylinders are, they have a base. The base is a circle. So you're going to have to know that for a circle, we've got circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. And area of a circle is pi r squared. So you're going to have to remember those formulas. And altitude is another way of saying height. It joins the planes of the bases together. And the height of the cylinder is the length of its altitude. And what's interesting is what we're going to look at is we have to know when to use area and when to use the circumference of a circle. And so when you're looking at a flat plan of a cylinder, you'll notice that it's made up of a rectangle and 2 circle bases. So if you're looking for area of the base, it's going to be when you use pi r squared. And this, one of the lengths of the rectangle, is where you get 2 pi r. Right? And so you need to know that information when you're looking at the formulas for circles. Okay. So please note, this is the formula I would use, is that lateral area is 2 pi r times h. So the lateral area is going to be the area here of the rectangle that makes up the cylinder. All right? And so you can see that you're going to multiply 2 pi r times h. And then the surface area, you've got to add in the area of the two circles that make up the bases of the cylinder, and so that's pi r squared, and this one's pi r squared, so you're going to multiply that by 2, and that's where this formula comes in. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples where we're using these formulas. So example number 1 says the radius of a cylinder. So let's write our formulas down first. So lateral area equals 2 pi r times h. And then surface area is the lateral area plus 2 times the base. And please remember that the base equals pi r squared. All right, so the radius of the base, so r equals 4. The height is 6, so this is h. What is the lateral area and surface area? Okay, so lateral area is going to be 2 times 3.14 times r, which is 4, times h, which is 6. And you just literally type that in your calculator, go straight across, and you get 150.72. Now you can do the same thing for surface area. Surface area equals the lateral area, 150.72, plus 2 times the base. Now let's go ahead and figure out what the base is. So the base equals pi 4 squared. Pi is 3.14 times 4 squared equals 50.24. So this is 2 times 50.24. And when you type that all in your calculator going across, you end up with 251.2. So in this case, you did have to find what B is. Okay? All right, now let's try the same example, except now let's find the volume. So volume is base times height. So we know our base is 50.24. So to find the volume, you're literally just doing 50.24, which is B equals pi r squared, times height. And the height in this case is 6. When you put that in your calculator, you get 301.44. So remember, volume equals base times height. And again, your base is pi r squared, which we figured out right here. So this is what goes here. All right, so those are the examples I'm going to do with you. Please note that for number 5, you should notice that they've given you a diameter, not a radius. So make sure you notice that. So complete page 4. All right, let's move forward. The next thing we're going to talk about is this shape, and this is volume of prism. So you notice it doesn't matter what type of prism you have. It is a polyhedron with 2 congruent parallel faces called bases. So it could be like this is a base that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, so it's a pentagon base. This is a triangular base because it has 3 sides. So it doesn't matter the shape, it's got 2 bases and 2 lateral faces. The altitude, again, is the perpendicular line, or what we would also call the height. So if you point straight up in the air, That's what height looks like. So we've got right prisms, oblique prisms, but use the same formulas to find this. So basically to find your lateral area, it's the sum of the areas of the lateral faces. So for example, if you take out the base, and so if you have a box and you take off the lid and you take off the bottom of the box, it's that other stuff in the middle. That is what we call the lateral area. And basically you just take the perimeter, so we're going to have to find P, which is perimeter, and then H is the height. Right? And then the surface area is going to be the lateral area, which is that middle part, and then you're going to have to add in the area of the two bases. So in this case, the area of the base, if it's a rectangle, B might equal length times width, or B could equal 1/2 base times height if it's a triangle, and so on and so forth. So it depends on what your prism is, will determine which formula you use for B. And volume is just base times height. So again, whatever product, whatever base you have, times the height. All right, so let's look at some examples. So the first example is a rectangular prism. And the first thing we want to know is, what is the lateral area? The lateral area is P times H. So the first thing we have to do is figure out what perimeter is. So perimeter is going to be the distance around the base. In this case, it's 11 plus 11, which equals 11 times 4, which is 44. Okay, and then our height equals 3. So now that we know P is 44 and H is 3, all we have to do is 44 times 3. So lateral area equals 44 times 3, which equals 132. What's the total surface area? Well, surface area equals the lateral area plus 2 times the base. Well, in this case, the base is going to be length times width. So B equals length times width, which equals 11 times 11, which is 121. So now to find the surface area is going to equal the lateral area, which is 132, plus 2 times 121. And you type that in your calculator and you get 374. Okay. Volume's probably the easiest. Volume equals base times height. Well, in this case, our base is 121 times our height, which is 3. So all this is going to equal 363. Okay. At this point, you should be able to finish page 6. And then you're going to want to come back and watch the videos for pyramids and cones.